Shalom and good day. This is Tehillim 29 back again with another DC review or DC reviews. And in this, with this one, I am covering Joshua Williamson's Superman issue 16 and also Mark Waid's issue 29 of World's Finest. I'll now get things organized for the first one that I'll be reviewing. So, moving in the first things first, do these covers in any way, shape, or form connect to something that is happening inside of the story? For the first one, no. The second one, not so much, but I do actually like the second cover more so than the first one. But I do need to point out something: more laziness and cheapness care of DC Comics once again. Do we really have to get the same cover twice? Just saying. This practice should be illegal. If people are paying for this cover on the right, they should remain with that cover on the right. Not have the right one and the left one at the same time. That's called ripping off your audience and being a cheapskate. Plus, it looks like DC comics or Detective Comics look like deformed comics. You know, because someone's got a defect in their brain or something. I don't know. And I do remember when DC actually sold variant covers on comics, and they weren't like this. All right. Now, for the next thing, in regards to the rating for the covers, for the one on the left-hand side, I give a 7.5 out of 10, as it does actually draw close to what is happening in the story. But I do actually like the second cover, because if you put it on its side like this, of course we get to see the whole of Superman himself, and it's really well done. And for this, I give it an 8 out of 10. If anything, this would be great to put up on a wall. So now it's time to move in relation to the area of the internal art, which we'll have a look around the beginning, middle, and of course the end, and also what is happening story-wise with the characters. I'll be using the variant cover for this, so I'll now get things organized as we start to move into the beginning of the story and have a look how the art turns out in it. Then we'll move into the middle and of course finally the end. So as the story begins, we learn that Clark Kent is presently, I guess, in a type of coma or something, as to how the story comes across, and we're getting a bit of a dream with him being caught up in his past, and we see a young Clark Kent actually trying to do, I guess, some magic or illusionary tricks in front of Ma and Pa Kent. And I really quite enjoyed that. I thought that it really worked well with the story, considering the consequences of what Amanda Waller is doing with the heroes. As we draw closer towards the middle of the story, we return to the Fortress of Solitude, and we get to see quite a number of heroes that have turned up on the scene, from Red Tornado to Booster Gold to members of the Titans, the Bat family. It's a pity because I don't see Damian Wayne in there, though he should be in there, unless that the character of Damian Wayne is looking for the John Kent of this Infinite Frontier universe. And last but not least, we do catch up with what the villains are doing in the particular story. So for the internal art, I give it a 7 out of 10. Now it's time to move in relation to the area of the story. So first things first, considering how far we are in this particular story. Were we given any comic references? And sure enough, we were to. So as to how far we are in the story, Do we get any comic references to any of the previous issues? Sure enough, we do, to issue 15. Care of Joshua Williamson. It is nice to see that being used because continuity is important in the story. As much as I don't like his portrayal of Damian Wayne, it comes off like a Timian Wayne. But in regards to what he's doing with Superman right now, let's move on to what's happening there. Next is the area of time, to which we don't get any indication of when some of these events are taking place throughout the day, which I think it would not hurt the story to include it. Next is the area of the locations, to which in the locations we see the Fortress of Solitude as well as Metropolis. The cast of characters consisting of Ma and Pa Kent, which was really nice to see in the beginning of the story. We, of course, had Clark Kent Superman, Mr. Terrific, Dr. Midnight, Amanda Waller, Zatanna. We had some members of the Titans turn up, Red Tornado, Ted Cord, one of the original Blue Beetles, which is really good to see. Booster Gold, I'm wondering how Amanda Waller managed to get Booster Gold into this universe, because Booster Gold is a character that is actually meant to be set from the future, and that would also include like members of the Legion of Superheroes and that. I wonder how she managed to get him caught in this universe with what she's doing. It does sort of like lead to questions in that, because in technicality, if she was truly doing what she was doing, there would be no way for Booster Gold to come into what is happening in the present universe with what she's done. So unless Booster Gold has somehow managed to establish a loophole of sorts with this particular absolute power tie-in, which might prove useful later on in the story, I don't know. Of course, we had Zatanna, the Titans, Red Tornado. We had Booster Gold, Nightwing, Batman, some members of the Bat family, of course. The Last Son Amazo robot, of course, that's still causing tyranny. Lex Luthor. We, of course, had members that made up the Suicide Squad, or the task force that Amanda Waller has. And last but not least, Lois Lane in, I guess, a type of Superman armor, which was really quite interesting. So for the overall story rating in this, I give a 7.5 out of 10. Now it's time to move into Mark Waid's World's Finest, issue 29. So, as we start to move into World's Finest, issue 29, does this cover in any way, shape, or form connect to something that is happening inside of the story? I'm afraid to say it really didn't feel like it did fit with the cover, and also with the story inside, to which I gave the cover, or the cover doesn't really fit with what's happening with the story inside, to which I gave it a 6.5 out of 10. As much as I enjoyed Dan Mora's art, if he was the one who did the cover for this, it's not the greatest of covers. Just saying. So next is the area of the internal art, as we have a look around the beginning, middle, and of course the end, and also what is happening story-wise with the characters. So as the story begins, we return to, well, I guess, is it the third dimension, fifth dimension? I don't know. It's we still know things are happening in connection to the sixth dimension here, and of course we catch up with Mix Pitalik, along with Robin and other characters that are in the story. We see what's also happening with Batman as well. We get to see what the villain of the story is doing against the six-dimensional imps, as well as the superheroes. And something a little bit funny, cool, and crazy in regards to, of course, one of the imps being the Batmite imp with a Superman curl. For the internal art, I gave it a 7 out of 10. Now it's time to move in relation to the area of the story. So first things first, considering how far we are issue-wise, did we get any comic references to any of the previous issues? No. This stuff really needs to be included, and because it's not included, I'm afraid to say marks have been taken down. Ironically. Next, so references, comic book references to any of the previous issues. No, marks down. Area of time, no indication as to when it's happening time-wise. Marks down. Next is the area of the locations, to which we get to see Los Angeles, Salem, New Orleans, Bardija, and Cairo being used in the story. The cast of characters consisting of Robin, which would be Dick Grayson, Bruce Wayne Batman. We had, of course, the fifth dimensional imps, Mrs. Pitalik. We also had the character of Dr. Fate make an appearance. Of course, we had Superman. But for the overall story rating, I give it a 6.5 out of 10. Until then, let's keep it colourful and have yourself an awesome day.